You can't run a 2025 business with a 2015 playbook. So many CEOs are stuck in firefighting, meetings, and just dealing with the problem of the day. But there's a new kind of CEO that's focused on building trust, distribution, and leverage. I call it the content CEO. And I'm gonna break down the 4 limiting beliefs that you need to get over to be able to go and build your content CEO stack. So let's talk about the old CEO versus the content CEO. A lot of founders out there, they're building businesses and they're built on a house of cards. It's all reliant on you at the end of the day, not having the right systems for building authority, for building up distribution and leverage. It feels rickety, and oftentimes you end the day, you're looking yourself in the mirror and you're thinking, man, I don't know if I can go another week like this. Now, the new CEO, which is the content CEO, understands the importance of building leverage around them. So there are 4 stages to becoming a content CEO. So let me just draw this up for you. What we've got, we're looking to grow brand and leverage. So it looks something like this. You've got brand over here, got leverage down here. And when you get these 4 playbooks in place, you're essentially going and gradually increasing your brand awareness and increasing leverage in your business. Now, most founders that I speak with are doing it the old way, which leaves you somewhere down here. And where I'm trying to get you throughout this video is grow you to this point here, where you've got each of these 4 systems nailed and you've got maximum brand resonance with not having to do it all yourself because you've got the right leverage in place. So the first system now is your authority engine. So let's go and get that built into place. So now you're worried that no one's going to be listening to you, but the truth is you just need to know the right way to go and build authority online. You know, when I go back and look at my own content journey, I didn't get so caught up in how many people were listening. I first focused on just getting the reps in. You know, whether it was starting my newsletter or beginning YouTube, what I focused on was I'm going to do this thing 100 times that I'm proud of, 100 newsletters that I'm proud of, 100 YouTube videos that I'm proud of. And at the end of the day, if I do 100 of these things, the score will take care of itself. Sure enough, with my newsletter as an example, after doing 100 reps, I grew that newsletter to over 182,000 people. Or on YouTube here, after about 96 reps, we've now grown the YouTube to about 172K subs. And so it was this focus on the practice, on the work at hand and creating something that I was genuinely proud of that led to all the results. Not this over concerning or obsession around, subscribers, followers, and all these vanity metrics. When you show up and just do the thing, you get the content out there, you start to build some level of attention. That attention then leads to leads leads to cash flow, and cash flow gives you the ability then to reinvest in your content, your team, and make even more exceptional content. And that flywheel, the authority flywheel, just keeps on ripping. I've listened to my audience, and their favorite type of content is when they just get to see me live helping other founders. And so this became a content idea we came up with, which we call our whiteboard sessions. I've had the opportunity to sit down with founders like Blake Roca, Ali Abdal, and go and chop it up and bring you, the audience, into the room while I'm actually helping these founders. Now, sure enough, people come in the room, they see how I'm helping others, and then they want to go and join Founder OS. And you get it. This is the authority flywheel at work. When you go and create this in your business, it's going to look probably a little bit different than mine. But what I want you to look out for is, number 1, just get started with whatever content excites you today. 2, listen to your customers and understand, what is it that they're really coming to you for? Ask them even what content that you've created is their favorite. And then from there, number 3 is just double down on a few formats that you're seeing work. You don't need to do everything all at once. Ideally, over time, you triple down on just a few formats that you love. For me, it's things like deep systems, these whiteboard sessions, and behind the scenes. I keep it simple. Those 3 formats get the job done. And so you want to think about what are the 3 content formats that are going to help your authority flywheel get ripping, and then let them run. So now, you're worried that you're not even sure what to go and put online, right? So this is where your content waterfall system comes into place. So you say you don't have enough time, but the truth is you really just don't have the right systems in place. So we're going to dive into how to actually go and structure your content to get this right. Every business these days is a media company. You need to build content, to build an audience, to go and build trust at scale. And this isn't something that you can just go and delegate out the gate. You need to deeply understand, the importance of this, because content isn't an extra part of your business. It's an essential part of what you're building. An example of these systems at scale are my content waterfall system. The ability to go and take one YouTube video and turn it into 26 other amazing pieces of content across my business. All right, so sometimes I'm a little bit better at showing you than telling you. So let me just show you exactly how this content waterfall system looks like in place. So first things first, you've got your pillar piece of content. As an example, that may be a long form piece of content like a YouTube video. So we've got that at the top. Now, that one YouTube video can become 26 plus other pieces of content if you do this right. So as an example, on the short form video side, that YouTube video could become 3 IG Reels, it can become 3 TikTok videos, and become 3 YouTube Shorts. This is all by taking the core moments in that pillar piece of content and then just cutting them up for these short form video platforms. You can also go and take all of that script that you had in place for the YouTube video and turn that into amazing content for platforms like LinkedIn. And so one, 13-minute YouTube video may become 3 LinkedIn posts. It can become 3 X threads, and it may also become a newsletter a few weeks later. Now, it doesn't end there. You also can go and obviously take that YouTube video and distribute it onto platforms like Spotify, and then also onto things like Apple. Systems like this help me maximize my time and effort. I can film this one video right now, and over the next month, I have a calendar for Instagram, TikTok, X, and LinkedIn filled up. That's the beauty of being able to repurpose your effort so you're not on some content hamster wheel. But to do this, we probably just need to manage our priorities different. What I've learned over the years is that, most CEOs can get the majority of their work done in 4 focused hours. I remember hearing this from Toby Luckey, the CEO and founder of Shopify, about a $100 billion business at this point. He said that most people just need 4 hours a day to get their core tasks done. So your question may be, well, Matt, what the heck am I going to do in those 4 hours? I like to break down those 4 hours into 4 key aspects. Number 1 is strategic decision-making. 2 is content creation and systems. 3 is your team growth and strategy. And then 4 is you have your revenue generation period. When you think about these 4 hours, right, it's being able to then go and batch that time at the right time of day. For me, those 4 hours are most critical between about 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. every single day. If I don't get that uninterrupted time first thing in my morning, I'm probably screwed that day. Now, with the founders and CEOs I talk with all the time, this is one of the first core improvements they need to make so that they're actually blocking off that period of time to get these 4 key aspects done. On the team side, right, this gives you an opportunity to schedule any of those key meetings you have. So every week, as an example, I have a level 10 meeting with my core leadership team, a chance to go over our scoreboard, go over key metrics, and then any issues, opportunities, challenges, or constraints we're currently experiencing, and put our heads together to solve them. Now, from there, we break off and we meet again in another week. Now, on the content side, it comes down to things like your content waterfall system, being able to create one pillar piece of content that turns into 26 other pieces of content. This is what's going to allow you to go and get the maximum time and effort out of what you pour into content. Now, on the revenue generation side, revenue cash flow is the lifeblood of your business. And without being able to pay attention to this aspect for about an hour a day, you may be able to get a couple weeks by, but sure enough, something blows up in your sales team or you have some issue with customer success. And so it deserves your daily attention to make sure that you're moving the needle forward. When you take this approach, you're not running on some content hamster wheel, giving up, then getting back on the train, then giving up, which is what so many founders do. With this system in place, you have, revenue being generated, the right team in place, you have time every day to make those key strategic decisions while also giving yourself the space to think about amazing content and then show up with energy, whether it's on camera or writing on platforms like X and LinkedIn. So now you're going to go and create all this content, but you're asking, Matt, how's this even going to go and drive me revenue? So let's get into system number 3, your content to revenue bridge. So the content to revenue bridge looks something like this, right? You've got kind of funnel going from awareness at the top, you got interest, you've got consideration here, and then people inevitably making a decision. Now, when you get each of these 4 stages right, it's like a slippery slope, right? People go from awareness up here all the way through to transaction. Cool thing is when you get it right, people are like, damn, I don't know how I got on this sales call, but your process is smooth as hell. And oftentimes, I think that when you have this right, it's super indicative of how great your delivery is going to be as well. So it's worth investing in getting that slope made in a way that's frictionless, seamless, elegant, and beautiful for folks. So awareness is going to take place on platforms like YouTube, IG, X, and LinkedIn. So on the awareness side, right, you want to make sure that you're creating content that actually converts. And the best way to do this is to understand from your actual customers, what are their main problems, challenges, obstacles, goals, and biggest dreams. From there, when you survey them and understand the responses to these questions, you can go and come up with hundreds of content ideas that literally go and solve that stuff. When I go and look at my best content across all platforms, I see that how-to videos, as an example, convert the best because I'm actually just going and educating people and helping them with the core problem they brought up to me. From there, if they want to go and work with me in a bigger way, they can go and convert. This is where you're just going and capturing folks' attention and bringing them to the next stage, which is interest. To move between awareness to consideration, right, it takes things like CTAs and lead magnets, okay? This is where you're going and say, creating a video on deep work, and then people can go and actually download a deep work checklist via the link in the description. Now, on the interest side, the key thing is then making sure that you're converting people to a newsletter into a call. And the best way to do that is with the right CTA system in place. Under any video, as an example that I put out, I have a core call to action that then leads people to a lead magnet that relates directly to what that person has just watched in the video. From there, I'm able to capture their email, their phone number, and sometime between, today and 2 years from now, most of those people will eventually convert to the next stage, which is consideration, where you're building more of a rich relationship with that consumer. And so the best way to do this that I've seen is a newsletter. Now, don't get caught up on what platform to create on. You could use Beehive, Kit, HubSpot, doesn't matter. All these platforms are great. The most important thing is that you're actually just consistent and get going. Now, this all leads then to decision, right? Inevitably, you're putting that newsletter out there. A lot of people are like, damn, I want to work with this person. And sure enough, they end up either on sales calls or on a landing page and converting to your product or service. We want to make sure that we're giving people all the right information, right? We're helping make sure that they understand exactly how we can help them, make sure that we're linking the content they just watched to the product or service that we're selling, and make it easy for them to say yes. This is why I think it's really important as well with your content that you're not just chasing vanity metrics. What happens is, as a founder, if you're just chasing likes or engagement, you just start creating a lot of viral content. And what is viral content? Well, it probably has a massive total addressable market, and it's going to appeal to a lot of beginners and just general folks. But a lot of our businesses, right, as founders are more niche. You're going after that person that's making 50K plus, or you're trying to close big businesses. That kind of content's going to look a lot different. It's not going to have necessarily mass appeal. It's going to be more specific to a certain kind of problem or obstacle. And so the core thing is to actually look at your profit at the end of the day. How much cash is your content actually driving? Cash in bank or profit per month is going to be the ultimate metric of your content, not likes, not followers, not engagement. Those things are important to consider, but at the end of the day, you want to actually look at your bottom line. You get these 4 stages right, you get your pieces of this all mapped out, and you have a slippery content to revenue bridge. The more seamless your content to revenue bridge, the more easily you're converting people from attention all the way through to transaction. And so a lot of founders at this stage now are like, okay, well, do I have to do everything myself? Hell no, right? We're gonna get the team multiplication system built into your business to get that final piece of leverage in place. I want to tell you, as part of the content CEO stack, you need a team to multiply your impact. And so you're probably wondering, well, Matt, what team should I create? Well, what you want to do is think about that content to revenue bridge and the people that you need in place for each stage of it long term. Most of you are like this, right? It's just you versus the world. Well, no more of that. That is the old way. Let's get into the content CEO way. Here, it comes down to your team multiplication system. Okay. Now, when it comes to your team, you've got really 3 core elements. The creators, we have the distributors, and then we have the strategists. So we've got creators, we've got distribution here, and then we've got strategy. All right. So your creators are going to be people like a writer and an editor, okay? Depending on whether obviously you're making, posts for X and LinkedIn, or you're making stuff for YouTube, IG, and TikTok. So for me on my team, I have writers on my team like Nils. I have video editors on my team like Oast and Memo. On the distribution side, the key thing here, and I think it's one of the most valuable players when you're building up your own media empire, is a social media manager. So many people just think they can go and hire some VA and this is just some simple role. But I got to tell you, I think it's one of the more complex roles in any organization. And the reason being is that person, as you're building up your media company, is in charge of actually going and distributing all that content across all of the different platforms flawlessly, and oftentimes doing it 7 days a week. I really encourage you to go and value your social media manager, right? This is essentially your chief distribution officer of the media company you're building. Also, shout out to Nick on the Founder side for all his hard work. So on the strategy side, this is where folks, like in my case, it's me and my boy Diego. The key aspects to strategy is that we're looking at the data, titles, packaging, thumbnails. We're taking into consideration where people are converting from, why they're converting. We're taking into account, data that we're getting from our sales team to understand what content should we be creating next. In addition to that, we're also getting into the details of planning out shoots. Right now I'm in Lisbon, Portugal. We're shooting 10 pieces of content over the next 7 days. No small feat, but it's made possible because we've got the right structure in place, the right team, and we're all owning our given areas. So the old way is just you. We definitely want to scrap that immediately. The new way is thinking about your team in these 3 stages. You get this right, you're creating content that you're proud of, that's converting, all the while being able to live a calm, peaceful life. It's this team in place that ensures that all the content you're seeing from me is distributed seamlessly and that we're able to constantly raise the bar. If I was going alone, I would be screwed. And so it takes a team to build a media empire, and it takes a team to be able to stay in the game long term. If it all comes down to you, I worry that you're not going to be able to stick with it. And like most great investments in life, they come over the long term. And so the key thing is longevity and being able to stay in the game. And that's exactly why having the right team in place is so critical. So yes, you're going to build a team, but that doesn't mean that you just totally let it all go, don't pay any attention to it, and just ignore it going forward. For me, brand matters. And as a founder-led brand, you know uniquely exactly how you want to show up, the kind of topics you love to talk about, and the ones that you don't want anything to do with. And so it's important that as you start hiring these people, that you're still involved, right? Especially on the strategy side and the ideation side. Essentially, my involvement on my team is I'm kind of like the chief detail officer, right? Making sure that as we're ideating different subjects, I have like the final green light on stuff that we're going to move forward with and the kind of things that I don't think quite encapsulate our brand. Because beyond content, beyond views, beyond cash flow, I think the most valuable thing that we're all building are brands. Brands inevitably are the emotional connection that you build between yourself and your customers. And no one's gonna know that as well as you, the founder. You can no longer say you don't have time because now you got the content waterfall system. You can no longer say that no one's gonna listen to you because you have the authority flywheel. You can no longer say, how's this even gonna make me money? Because you've got the content to revenue bridge. And you can no longer say, I'm just gonna have to do this all alone because you've got the team multiplication system in place. Now, if you want help going and actually implementing this in your business, I think the logical step for you to do is go right down to the description right now and get my Content CEO Playbook. Me and my team spend around 10 hours going and creating a whole implementation checklist so that you can go and implement exactly what I'm going over in this video. It's got a deep dive on my content strategy, the team that I've set up, and how I've built authority with my personal brand over the last 4 years. So go and check that out via the link in the description. Thanks for watching this video. I can't wait to see what you create, and let's continue to win together.